Blank_01 is an indie horror game that starts with a game over screen and then takes place over the course of a regular work week. On Monday, you start in a room with nothing but a bed and your to-do list. Your to-do list consists of work, eat, get money, pay, and sleep. There's essentially nothing to the environment, and the dialogue is sparse at most. Your instructions are clear, and the few rooms only exist to complete your tasks. Work in this game consists of taking a short quiz full of a bunch of random yes or no questions. There's questions like, is water wet, random math questions, and a bunch of other arbitrary questions that don't really matter, and you need to select the correct answer. Aside from the question, are you happy, where you have no choice but to say yes, there's nothing of note as of now. After getting your work done, you need to eat. You make your way to the kitchen, open the fridge, consume some consumables, and then you are no longer hungry. Mission complete. Once you've eaten, it's time for you to get paid for the work you've done. You go back to the room you were just working in and collect the money that you earned. But after collecting your money, it's also time to pay. You walk down the hall and head towards where you're supposed to deposit your money, and as you approach it, the white environment turns a harsh red, and a loud, distorted thumping sound starts to play. Once you reach the end of the hall, you deposit your money into a large, disgusting, realistic mouth. After working, eating, and paying, it's time for you to go to sleep, because tomorrow, you have to work. Tuesday goes the same as Monday. Your tasks are the same, and almost nothing is different. The differences are the questions that you have to answer for work, the notable one this time around asking, are you getting enough sleep? And you have to say yes. And when you try to reach the end of the hall to complete your payment this time, the hallway will extend itself as you get closer until you eventually reach the mouth. You complete your payment, and then you need to sleep, because there's lots of work. Wednesday continues the same formula as the other days, but the environment is all kinds of messed up. You start the day with your bed on the wall and a strange object in the middle of the room, which appears to be an upside-down noose. When you leave the bedroom, the hallway is a completely different shape, and the rooms are in different places. Your to-do list is also different, with some weird messy text, but ultimately consisting of the same content. The computer that you normally use in the workroom is now upside down and on the ceiling, and the text to indicate where you collect your payment is chunkier and slathered across the floor. You once again do your job, the question of note today being, did you accomplish everything you wanted to do? And of course, you have to say yes. After work, it's of course time to get food, however this time, there is nothing left in the fridge, so we don't even get to eat despite all the work we're doing. As soon as you leave the kitchen, the whole environment once again goes a bright red. And another cool detail you might miss is that the ceiling has a strange, ominous figure in it. You then go collect your money like normal, but when you try to go make your payment, you have to go through a ridiculous series of doors, some of which are blocked off, and some of which are the right path. After you progress through the right doors, you deposit your money into the mouth, and it's time to go to sleep, because there's always work to do. It's now Thursday, and the environment is an absolute disaster this time. Your bedroom, as well as just about every other room, is covered in scribbles of words and phrases. I personally cannot make out most of them, but a big chunk of it definitely says, I need to work. There's also text layered over the screen when you open doors. I believe it is supposed to say everyone's already made it, but I'm not 100% sure on that either. The layout of the map is way larger now, and it's essentially a maze. It can be pretty challenging to navigate. Once you manage to actually find the workroom, your workstation is completely upside down while you're actually working. This makes it a little more difficult to read, obviously, but it's ultimately the same as the other days. There's text layered on the screen, which appears to just say, keep working, and the noteworthy questions this time around are, does this even matter, followed by, does anything matter? After work this time when you go to get food, it's literally just physical money as the food, and after that, when you go to get paid, you literally receive a human arm as your payment. The text layered over the screen in this moment is just the word more, repeated over and over. After receiving payment, the place once again goes red, and when you go to pay your fair share this time around, the place where you make the payment straight up changes, forcing you to go find it again. When you do find it, you make your payment of an actual human arm. I think the text on this one says keep it, but I'm not really sure. After giving up your arm, you go back to your room to sleep like normal. But there's just a figure hanging out in your bed. Because of this, you cannot sleep here, so you leave the room to see that the map has completely changed to just be a big, open room with a bed on the wall. The bed turns into a coffin shape and completely consumes you. And now, it's Friday. This day starts off so straightforward that it's almost calming, but that calm turns into a feeling of dread rather quickly. You take your to-do list, as you do have one more day, and all you have to do today is work. As always, you have to answer a series of questions, but this time you have 3 full shifts to finish. Do you want more work? Correct answer is yes. Do you want to not get paid? Correct answer is yes. How about an extra shift? Correct answer is yes. Are you lying? Correct answer is no. And that's just one job. Forget about sleep? Yes. Forget all your dreams? Yes. Commit everything to work? Yes. Are you lying? No. Job 2, complete. Are you happy? Yes. Are you lying? Yes. Don't lie to me. Are you happy? No. You then approach your method of payment once more after working your triple shift. This takes you into a room of nothing but doors all around you, with only one of them being a way out. When you enter the only correct door, you're transported into this dark hallway that completely contrasts the rest of the game. You have to walk forward into this wide open mouth as these eyeballs blink and stare into space around you. You reach the mouth that you've been feeding this whole time, but you don't give him shit. This is enough. You've finally reached the end of the game, where instead of getting your to-do list or going to work, you grab an axe and destroy everything around you. The walls, the furniture, the very fabrics of reality can be and will be demolished. And that's all there is, until you choose to destroy a computer with the name of the game on it that's way off into the distance, and this crashes the game. The ending of this game features this dreamy and calm yet devastating music. This music isn't even custom made for the game, it is unironically just a 14-second loop that repeats, yet this is probably one of my favorite pieces of music from any horror game, despite it legit being a glorified royalty-free loop. This single track captures the horrors of the mundanity and repetitiveness of the theme of this game. The fact that it is just a loop is fitting, because it reflects the cycle. It is so simple and almost elegant, but it feels deeply haunting, almost as if something tragic happened. But what makes those feelings so interesting is that there's no reason to feel those feelings in this circumstance. If you set aside the bizarre style and the few freakish scares in this game, and you just take into account what is actually happening throughout the experience, this is a game about a normal life. You work, you eat because you have to, you give up most of your earnings for your hard work, and that's it. That's your day. Although portrayed in an artistic way, that is a normal person's life. That is what I find so fascinating about blank_01. This game is genuinely scary, because it forces you to confront the reality of the life of the everyday person in the most straightforward way possible. I enjoy and appreciate when horror is creative with unique monster designs, or a story that's so outlandish it could only be seen as supernatural. But the only thing that truly frightens me is reality. And there isn't another indie horror game that reminds me of my own humanity like this one does. I do love the style and the abstract scares as well, and I think they do enhance the fear. The contrasting combination of realistic and plain simple graphics makes the game feel like both a game and a mirror of reality, which is really trippy. The entity of the mouth being the consumer of the income that you bring in is so freakish and creative. And just the subtle details to the empty environments and how everything gets crazier over time contributes a lot to this experience. I see the way the environments and visuals get crazier and crazier over time as a visual representation of the fears and anxieties that are usually internal when dealing with this stressful lifestyle. It really adds a lot to making this mundane experience showcase the, again, usually hidden horrors of living in this miserable way. I have no idea what the intended message of this game was. This is just my takeaway from the game after playing it. I can absolutely see other interpretations being more accurate to the developer's intentions. In fact, the most common interpretation of this game that I see from people is that it's an abstract expression of an anti-capitalist message, which also makes complete sense to me. But to me, Blank_01 is a game about the fear of life, as simple as that sounds. The fear that life will prevent us from ever achieving what we truly want to achieve. The fear that we are truly just cogs in a machine that hold no individual value. The fear that we work so hard every single day for it to ultimately mean nothing by the end. However, I genuinely love that this game did affect me in this way. Which might sound strange, because I'm rambling on about this game causing me genuine fear and borderline anguish from how it reminded me of my own insignificance and how we are inevitably going to be completely meaningless when all of our lives are over. But this game actually motivated me in a way, and I want to share that because I don't want to end this video on the most negative note possible. This game made me deeply uncomfortable with its portrayal of what the everyday person's life is like. The painfully direct reflection of how miserable life actually is what freaks me out so much. Because of that, I think the true takeaway from this game should be, what can I do to make sure I don't end up in this cycle? What can I do to prioritize my own happiness? What can I do to guarantee that despite the responsibilities I will always have, I will still be able to feel fulfilled in life? That's what I think the takeaway should be. Now, of course, everybody is ultimately going to have to work to provide for themselves, and the struggle that's on display here is going to be a reality for 99% of people. I totally acknowledge that a lot of people are not going to be able to have opportunities to branch out to explore their own happiness and what means something to them. But do notice what's absent in this game. There's nothing about building relationships with other people. There's nothing about following a passion of yours. There's nothing about simply doing something for fun. Blank_01 is about working and being miserable, but the end is about breaking free. You are literally breaking down the establishment. You are physically breaking free from your routine. Think of this as simply breaking down the barriers that entrap you into this routine, leaving some nice open space to welcome some true happiness into your life.